right, let's talk about this. All right, let's go to New York City. We've been talking about nuclear concerns over the past couple of months, right? We've heard threats from both the Russian side and we've heard from the United States Congress that, hey, maybe we should start using and dusting off those old nuclear weapons that we have and put them to use, right? Like we all wouldn't be wiped off the face of the planet, right? Well, now the New York City has rolled out an unbelievable video over the past 24, 48 hours, preparing all of us for a nuclear attack inside of New York City. And I say this with a straight face. This is a real video. This is a real public service announcement video from New York City. Watch.
So there's been a nuclear attack. Don't ask me how or why. Just know that the big one has hit. Okay?
Can you pause
so
it there?
what do we do?
So don't ask me how or why, because that's not what I'm here for. How did we get hit? Who did it? Who cares? Like, that's just, who cares, right? Like, yes, that is the question, how or why. But okay, so what do we do? Now that we've been hit by a nuclear weapon, what do? We put on this nice turtleneck, and I tell you more. Listen.
And they can't even do good
There are
green
three
screen.
important steps that
What did you say?
I said they can't even do good green screen.
It does look like she's in a video game.
All right, play
Yes.
it.
I want you to remember. Step 1, get inside fast. You, your friends, your family, get inside. And no, staying in the car is not an option. You need to get into a building and move away from the windows. Step 2, stay inside. Shut all doors and windows. Have a basement? Head there. If you don't have one, get as far into the middle of the building as possible. If you were outside after the blast, get clean immediately. Remove and bag all outer clothing to keep radioactive dust or ash away from your body. Step 3, stay tuned. Follow media for more information. Don't forget to sign up for Notify NYC for official alerts and updates. And don't go outside until officials say it's safe. All right? You've got this.
You've got this. You've got this.
Unless those officials happen to be ground zero, then you're on your own.
Yeah, I love, okay, so the
And
idea
also,
that you're going to
if you're
send...
homeless, right?
Well, yeah,
then none of that
yes.
applies because you don't have extra clothes.
But number 3 on the list, like, go to social media. Like, go to and wait for text messages and tweets from I'm sorry, if the cell towers are literally destroyed from a nuclear attack, no one's going to be tweeting. There's not going to be any text alerts from your cell towers. That's going to be gone.
Somehow the internet cables all survived.
Yeah, go
Right.
inside. Go inside your nice fluffy apartment in New York City, and you'll be fine. Just, and stay away. If you see if you see a cat that is on fire with radiation, don't pet the cat.
Don't
do
touch
not
it.
do that. If you see a blanket that is covered in radioactive material, don't cover yourself in that radioactive material blanket. But this is really what's happening right now. And one of the reasons, we'll get to why I think that this is credible, like they're giving it in this nice little way. This is credible. I'll get to that in just a second. But this does remind me of those 1950s duck and cover videos that we all watched. And nostalgically, we all watched them because we couldn't believe that this was the United States of America in the 1950s. But here it was. Here's duck and cover. Here, watch this.
He did what we all must learn to do. You and you and you and you duck and cover.
Be sure and remember what Bert the Turtle just did, friends, because every one of us must remember to do the same thing. That's what this film is all about. Duck and cover.
Yeah. And then they go on. Then it's a whole film about how you should be duck and covering in classrooms. And just think about your children, right? This is a lot of memories of this after 9/11 were brought up about duck and covering and like, what are we going to do about our kids? But this is what they were teaching in schools for your kids. This is how you would be safe. Watch.
You know how bad sunburn can feel. The atomic bomb flash could burn you worse than a terrible sunburn, especially where you're not covered. Now, you and I don't have shells to crawl into like Bert the Turtle, so we have to cover up in our own way. First, you duck, and then you cover. And very tightly, you cover the back of your neck and your face. Duck and cover underneath a table or desk or anything else close by.
Yeah, because that'll save you, right? This is unbelievable. I mean, this is literally the propaganda that they put on the American people, and they're doing it all over again, just 70 years later. So the reason I think that this is troubling is because we've been hearing from different members of the military. We've been hearing from the advancement of World War III propaganda from the likes of the from the likes of the UK government readying troops for World War III.
Yes.
That's literally what the head of the UK military said. We're getting our troops ready. We're prepping for a nuclear attack.
For a ground war.
Ground war and a nuclear strike.
Yes.
Right? What city would they hit first in America on the eastern seaboard? Like, no wonder New York is rolling out this ridiculous video, because this is a reality, guys. So here is
okay, but can I just push you on this a little bit? Okay. Is it a reality because politicians are poking the beast? Or is it propaganda to make you believe that the enemy is that scary? Because I could see it both ways.
Well, and I just want to say, like, think of all the generations of kids in school. That era where they did that, they had it in mind. Like, it's like they have to have some kind of fear of an attack of some kind for kids, that they have to do this. Like, now it's school shooting drills. There's like all these different things that kids have had to go through throughout all the generations of some kind of fear of some kind of attack.
Right. So is it demagoguery? Right. Is it that? Is it telling them, look, Russia is that bad, so we have to prepare ourselves, and because this is a real possibility, you have to sign on to us sending more weaponry to prevent it. So watch this and see what could happen, and then do not question when the money goes out.
I think it's a real possibility. It's hard to say.
Wait, what are you saying? It's a real, that nuclear war is a real possibility, or this as propaganda is a real, because both can't be true, I don't think.
Well,
I think the propaganda. I'm with you on that one.
The propaganda piece of this, but I think the fear of nuclear war is absolutely real. But I think what's the word I'm trying to say here? Hold on, let me finish my thought.
Just let me get a clarification on what you're saying. The threat is valid?
The threat is valid, which I'm going to play this soundbite. You watched this interview, didn't you? With G.H. Ellison, and he talks specifically about why this is valid. So let's play that, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Watch.
Ukraine is receiving longer-range missile systems, including HIMARS, from the United States. And Russia has a real concern that 3 of its nuclear reactors are within range of this and other systems. Ukrainian nationalists, who are actually trying to spark World War III and get U.S. boots on the ground, would love to turn these reactors into a dirty bomb. That's reality. That's how limited Joe Biden's advisors and Joe Biden's thinking has been on this issue.
And Russia has been clear on this.
World War III, right? That's the spark.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
That's the NATO providing long-range weapons to people that shouldn't have them,
right,
using them inside of Russia to hit nuclear sites, sparking World War III. This is the real threat.
And Russia has said that if long-range missiles target inside Russia, we will retaliate where those decisions are made.
With a force that you will never see before.
That was specifically what they said. We will retaliate where those decisions are made. And there was an aside that they are not necessarily made in Europe, right?
Right.
And they are not made in Kiev. That means that this will boomerang back on whoever's making those decisions, who live where? Washington, New York, Miami.
Seattle, San Francisco. Right, and there's been reports of nuclear submarines off the coast of San Francisco, Los Angeles, the eastern seaboard, nuclear-powered submarines, nuclear submarines from Russia, of course. Just as there are U.S. nuclear submarines off the coast of Finland and off the, in the Bering Strait and all over the place. So the threat is very real. And if their nuclear reactors
we're a global
are attacked,
force for good, though.
Yeah,
that's the difference. We're the global force for good, so we're allowed to do it. Nobody else is allowed.
Yeah, they're not allowed. It's just us that have to have our But if those nuclear reactors are struck, this is what's going to happen. So I don't know. I'm of two minds of it. Yes, there's an absolute real threat, and this is also propaganda.
Okay.
This is the New York government trying to, I don't know,
Well,
curry favor.
did
You know what's scarier to me, though, is how the propaganda could actually be the catalyst for the real thing happening. Because it's like they're just brazenly saying that all this stuff is going to happen. And so they're trying to spread this propaganda of fear, which is poking the bear in itself, which is going to lead to some kind of retaliation.
Well, poking the bear is also all these weapons that are being sent into Ukraine, right?
Right.
Longer and longer range missiles. Yes. Well, did you learn anything from that? That you stay in the center of a building?
I learned that
you trust the media?
No, what I learned from that video is that, wow, getting a sunburn is bad. It's just like having a nuclear weapon go off down the street from you. You'll be burned just similar to like getting a sunburn. So get out the
Well, and what I learned is if you're a kid, you better play close to your house so that you can get inside right away. You better not play like 5 blocks down the street in the fire hydrant, because then you're just, and make sure you grab your phone, because you need your phone in order to get updates.
Yeah. So duck and cover, and really make sure you cover the back of your head, like when you're under that desk, because that's going to help. Really make sure that you're going to be protected from that.
Yeah.
Just wear turtlenecks.
It's also like it's such a false sense of security is why they make those videos. Like, honestly, if you're in the center of your house and you're anywhere near where the bomb, like a nuclear weapon, goes off, you are obliterated maybe like a fraction of a second later because you're in the middle of your house. There's not going to be anything there. I mean, if you look at
that's the thing.
The aftermath of these things, it's insane.
Yeah, because it would have to go off like think of how far away from actually New York it would have to hit for New York to not be obliterated. It's not that big. If it hit in the center of New York, New York is gone.
Well, look at what happened in Hiroshima, right? Of course, was it Fat Boy and Little? What was the two bombs? Fat Boy and
Fat Man and Little Boy.
Fat Man and Little Boy. Yeah, and they were exploded. I mean, miles away from the actual target, right?
Oh, yes.
I mean,
That's
was
right.
it like 30 miles away or 20? Ridiculous length away from where they were supposed to hit in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And the amount of damage that they did up in the air and away from where they were supposed to hit. So, again, this would be an absolute disaster. It's, I don't know. It's
Hasn't anybody ever watched Terminator?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, when that went off, it just decimates everything. It's not like it's just like this little explosion.
Well, like Philip was talking about, if you've seen the videos from the Bikini Atoll and those U.S. By the way, this is a story that doesn't get talked about a lot, but the U.S. soldiers that were told to go and stand there and wait as the bombs went off, right? And
That's
you can actually watch the interviews with these individuals who finally, as they were dying, got some sort of government reparations, an acknowledgement by the government that yes, we took American soldiers and told them to stand there while we launched these nuclear weapons, or we launched an atomic weapon, to see what the effects would be on human beings. And they felt like, whoa, it was intense heat. You couldn't even believe it. All of your body parts were on fire. You couldn't believe it. These were American soldiers that the American government had stand there so they could figure out what the effects of these things were. Disgusting. But
right.
That's New York
And those,
Go ahead.
keep in mind that during all of those nuclear tests that they were doing, those were like significantly lower payload than what they have now. So it's like they were much smaller nuclear weapons. Like what they have now are
massive,
like orders of magnitude more powerful.
Right.
So it's just it's such a, I mean, they really should just in that video just be like, if a nuclear bomb goes off in New York, hey, I hope you had a good life.
Right.
That's basically what it is.
Don't try to find social media or your local televisions. Watch local media. I love that what they said too. Watch your local media stations.
Which where are they broadcasting from?
Tune into WVVA. Tune into your local Fox affiliate. It's not going to be there.
Yeah.
Idiots.
In fact, okay,
Like,
here's
oddly,
what
this
the
1 a.m.
statistic
station
that I was
comes in,
looking
though.
for. Little Boy was the first nuclear weapon America dropped in war, killed 80,000 people on Hiroshima. But the destruction could have been much worse because only 1.38% of its nuclear core fissioned. 1.38%. And it killed 80,000 people. 3 days later, when Americans dropped their second bomb, Fat Man, on Nagasaki, it accidentally detonated 1 mile off target.
1 mile.
And still managed to kill 40,000 people.
Yeah. So 120,000 people vaporized in mere seconds thanks to this.
Well, and think how concentrated New York. I mean, New York is really not that big when you look at it. It's just a concentrated area of big buildings. So I mean, it would think about that.
Yeah. I don't want to.
I don't want to either.
But it is. But New York wants you to. So here's your public service announcement. And I love the way they started it off was, we don't know how it happened, and we don't know why, but it happened. So you're there. You got this. You're going to be good. No problem.
I don't know. I think it hits for what it's trying to do. It hits the right tone. I didn't really learn anything about something helpful, like, get some canned food or whatever. But I do think that it's at least well produced for what it is.
All right. I mean, I don't know how who gets that phone call? Hey, production company, Clayton's, you make videos, right, Clayton? Yeah, we want you to make a video about nuclear fallout.
And think about the casting call for that too.
Yeah.
Like, no,
from
you're
somebody
too
who
scary.
does video. Yeah, we do video production, and I can tell you from a producer standpoint, that was horrible because the inside, it was an inside echo when she was outside. It was definitely green screen, and then when she went inside, the shadows were off. It was not well done, in my opinion, as a producer. It wasn't well produced.
But don't even pay attention to that because, it's a nuclear weapon. It's going to be nuclear fallout. So we can't even be paying attention to video production when that happens.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for subscribing to our channel. We've been banned, we've been blocked, we've been censored. That's why we started our own website to stay connected with you for free.
That's right. So head on over to redacted.inc and make sure you're connected with us. You can sign up again at redacted.inc, not .com.